Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.
Namaskaram. Good afternoon all. So let's start with the chapter residential status. Yesterday only we have initiated this chapter and we have discussed and finalized that this chapter is going to be one of the most important chapter in coming exams due to its impact. It's not only domestic impact of the amendment which are brought down by Finance Act 2020, but the internationally many foreigners are worried about, or they were worried about, these amendments that has been brought by Finance Act 2020 in residential status chapter. So last lecture we have concluded our discussion on scope of total income. You know that right now if a person is an ordinary resident, I'll write here. If a person is an ordinary resident, a quick revision, you know that his Indian income as well as his foreign income, Indian income as well as his foreign income, both the incomes will be taxable in India without doubt, because it is a residence rule. And if a person is a non-resident, then you know that only his Indian income will be taxable. So what do you mean by Indian income? Indian income means income accrued in India, income received in India, income deemed to be accrued in India, income deemed to be received in India. And if a person is a non-ordinary resident, I told you here we have to literally bifurcate these two things, Indian income and foreign income. Indian income, no doubt it will be taxable. Foreign income, you have to further divide it into two parts, business control from India or profession set up in India. Business control from India or profession set up in India, only this particular foreign income will be taxable. Any other foreign income will not be taxable. This much we have concluded, and I have given you logic with a practical case study of COVID-19. Many NRIs have sold their properties, have sold their investment outside India, and they have come back to India, isn't it? So I hope you remember that. I hope you remember all these three discussion from yesterday's class. Cool. So let's start with the concept of residential status. Now, believe me friends, it took us a lot of time to simplify residential status. In fact, I have taught this particular provision 3 times till now. But even till today, I was not satisfied with the structure. Like in what structure I should deliver this to students so that it will be easy for them to understand and implement. Many things have happened in residential status. I am not going to waste our whole lecture on residential status, but because it is very important aspect, we have now created different situation in this residential status of individual. Section 6 subsection 1, that's a very important section that you might be knowing. Section 6 subsection 1 is recently amended by Finance Act 2020, and it is very difficult to interpret and understand the amendment if you read it from a bare act. So what we have done, we have created simple situations. We have created formats. One of the format will be applicable in exam. So you learn in a format wise, and whenever the question comes in exam, you please answer in format wise. This format you are supposed to remember. So let's start. Section 6 talks about residential status. You know that there are 3 possibilities so far as individual is concerned. Individual can be a resident, it can be a non-resident. And if individual is a resident, further we have to check whether he is an ordinary resident or he is a non-ordinary resident. Residential status of an individual depends on how many days he stays in India. Okay. So we have 2 basic conditions. First basic condition is, okay, stay of 182 days or more in India during previous year. Our second condition is 60 days or more during previous year plus 365 days out of 4 years preceding to previous year. I hope you know this, so I am not going to waste time in basic provisions. Yeah. So if you satisfy condition 1, which is 182 days condition, or condition 2, any one condition, you will become a resident. Sir, how do I become non-resident then? You don't satisfy condition 1 as well as condition 2, then only you will become non-resident. We don't have definition of non-resident. If you don't become resident, then only you are a non-resident, and therefore I say definition of non-resident is written in a negative aspect in our income tax law. Okay. So once person becomes a resident, then only we will talk about additional condition. If person becomes non-resident, then our answer closes there. We don't have to think about whether he is an ordinary non-resident or non-ordinary non-resident. He is a non-resident, that's the end of the show. But he becomes a resident. A resident cannot be a status of the individual. It has to be either ordinary resident or non-ordinary resident. To become ordinary resident, he has to satisfy two more conditions. And therefore, I say this is the general condition, general format, basic format of residential status that you might have studied till now. And there is no change in the basic format. This is how you are expected to write answer in exam. See, I am not teaching you from the bare act. I could have taught you from bare act, but I know that then presentation in exam becomes difficult. And then you people write down the answers of residential status in paragraph. Whereas your language goes from this corner to that corner, and sometimes you yourself will be unable to draw the conclusion from the paragraph that you have written. So presentation is more important. Therefore, I'm telling you this particular table you should try to remember. Very simple table. Condition, number of days stayed in India, and ultimately your remark. In remark column, you are not supposed to write many things. You just write basic things only, like satisfied or not satisfied. We will try to learn this particular format with basic question from our study material. Let's see one question from study material. This is a question. Braitley, an Australian cricketer, visits India 100 days in every financial year. This has been a practice for past 10 years. Find out his residential status. First of all, you tell me, is it an Indian citizen? Whether Braitley is an Indian citizen? Because for Indian citizen, law has changed. No, he is not an Indian citizen. He is not a person of Indian origin also. He is an Australian cricketer, Australian citizen, and therefore for him law has not changed. Law remains same. Whatever we have discussed till now or whatever you already know, it is applicable. Let's talk about this. He has stayed in India in a previous year, like previous year 2021. He has stayed in India for how many days? He has stayed in India for 100 days. And what is the condition here? He should stay in India for how many days? 182 days or more during the previous year in India. Alright. So stay off 182 days was required. What should I write here? Satisfied or not satisfied? S or NS? The basic condition says you can become resident in India if you stay in India for 182 days or more, whereas as per the data given in the question, he has stayed for only 100 days. So therefore, this is not satisfied. Should I declare him non-resident? Can we declare him non-resident? Can we declare him non-resident here itself? Okay, he did not stay 182 days or more in India. Let's declare him non-resident. No, we cannot declare. We cannot declare. We have to check second condition. What is the second condition? Second condition says 60 days or more. 60 days or more in India during the previous year. 60 days or more in India during the previous year. Please tell me, 60 days or more he has stayed for 100 days. Should I declare, here I should write satisfied. Should I declare him a resident here? He has stayed in India for 60 days. Should I declare him resident here itself? Condition is satisfied, but should I declare? Answer is no. Because sir, this is the part A of the condition. We have to satisfy, this is only a half condition. We have to satisfy second half as well. And second half as well, that means we have to check whether he has stayed in India for preceding 4 years. Preceding for previous year. Are you getting preceding for 4 years means what? Preceding 4 year means, sir, preceding 4 year means, please understand, our previous year is 2021, and when I say preceding previous year, will you include 2021 in that? No, you will not include. So it is 1920, 1819, 1718, 1617, 100 days, 100 days, 100 days and 100 days. This is the working I am showing you, small working. How many days he stayed in India for us for preceding 4 years? So obviously sir, every year he is to come to India for 400 days. So part B is also satisfied. So can we call him resident now? Can we call Mr. Bratley resident now? And answer is yes, we can call him resident very easily because, sir, he did not satisfy condition 1, but he satisfied condition 2, and according to requirement, he is supposed to satisfy only one condition from the basic condition. Please understand, he is supposed to satisfy only one condition from the basic condition, and therefore he has satisfied the basic condition. Let's go ahead. Now, because he has satisfied the basic condition, now we are supposed to check whether he is the ordinary resident in India or a non-ordinary resident in India. For that, if you talk about ordinary resident, these conditions are written from the angle of ordinary resident. To become ordinary resident, you need to stay in India for 730 days out of 7 years. This is how I have remembered. Okay, 730 days out of 7 years. 730 days out of 7 years. This is the law that you need to keep in mind. 730 days out of 7 years, you should stay in India. This is the condition. 7-7. Okay. Now, here he is to come to India 100 days every year, isn't it? 100 days every year. So, 100 days multiplied by 7. 100 days multiplied by 7 is equal to 700 days. Now, you please tell me, should I check even a second condition? Is it required to check the second condition? What is the residential status? Can we conclude here itself? Because these conditions are and condition, isn't it? So, first condition itself is not satisfied. Can you please conclude what is his final residential status for the assessment year 21-22? What is his final residential status for AY 21-22? Please conclude. Everyone, please conclude. I know you know this. I'm just teaching you to clear, first background. I would have directly jump on amendments, but I know that first let me clear backgrounds. Let me teach you how to handle these questions in exam, and then I will go in the ordinary questions. Okay, AY 21-22. Yes, his status is R and NOR. So how many conclusions can be drawn from the calculation of residential status? Next one. How many conclusions are possible? There are 3 conclusions possible. Okay. Mr. X is a resident and ordinary resident. Mr. X is a resident and ordinary resident. This can be a conclusion. Mr. X can be resident and non-ordinary resident. Mr. X can be non-resident. These are the 3 conclusions. See, one of the conclusion will come in exam. I have written here because it is a format. I'm teaching you all 3 conclusions. Now, some notes that we need to learn. Okay, so far as your answer is concerned for Australian cricketer, this is how you should have presented. This is the presentation I have given you here. Okay, and Bratley is a resident but not ordinary resident for AY 21-22. This is how we present in exam. But let's come to my basic notes. Let me teach you some basic notes here about residential status. In the absence of information, please tell me, in the absence of information, this person who has arrived in India and the person who has departed from India. So, date of arrival and date of departure, both should be considered that as stay in India, or only one out of these 2 dates should be considered as the day of stay in India. Date of arrival and date of departure. Video is not clear? Clear. Okay. Both should be included. Yeah. Date of arrival also should be considered as day of stay in India. Date of departure also should be considered. So, from date of arrival to date of departure are the number of days stay in India. You tell me whether we are asking him to satisfy 182 days continuously. Like once he came to India, is it required that he should continuously stay in India for 182 days? Is it required like this? No. He can come for 15 days and again go back, again came back for another 15 days, 18 days, 20 days. So, it can be in multiple journeys. So, stay need not to be continuous in nature. Sir, where should he stay in India? He can stay anywhere in India. You know that if you go to Goa, on Goa we are having some casinos, and those casinos in Indian waters. Okay, it's not on land, they are on Indian waters. At the same time, in Kerala, if you see, there are boat houses. Yeah. So, if you spend one day, 2 days on those boat houses, or if you are spending 1 or 2 days on this, casinos which are there in Goa, still you will be considered as the day of stay in India, because you know definition of India, it extends to 12 nautical mile from the landmass, that you already know, and therefore it can be anywhere in India including territorial waters of India. Later on, I am going to use this particular knowledge to teach you, residential status of person who work as a crew of Indian ship. So later again, we are going to revisit this particular point. Purpose of visit India is irrelevant. Whether you are coming to India for an employment, you are coming to India because somebody died in the relatives or family member, whether you are coming to India for someone's marriage, reason is irrelevant. Residential status has nothing to do with its citizenship. In this section, under this clause, section 6.1, residential status has nothing to do with your citizenship. Obviously, other clauses, their citizenship will be important, but in this clause, citizenship is not important. Residential status has to be determined every year. Please understand, for every AY independently. Residential status we will determine for every AY independently, meaning thereby it is possible that in AY 2021 you are resident in India and AY 21-22 you are non-resident in India. Your status can change. Next, I wanted to tell you logic behind this, why this particular section was introduced. Why residential status conditions are so complicated. So one thing is for sure is this. Basic condition says 182 days or more in India during previous year. So this condition was sufficient to target or sufficient to cover people who are traveling abroad for some kind of work, like you and me. If you are an ordinary citizen, we may travel abroad for some, vacation or some work related thing. It can be any, like somebody getting married or something like that. We may travel outside India, but majority time we will stay in India for 182 days or more. Majority citizens are staying in India for 365 days. Some of them might travel for 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months time to abroad. But they say overall if you stay in India for more than a half year, 182 days is approximately half year, then you are called as a resident in India. Then this rich people is not done by poor people or middle class people. Rich people, what they used to do, they started doing manipulation. They said, okay, 182 days. No, let me stay in India for 180 days. You tell me, if you stay in India for 180 days, will you become a resident according to first condition? Imagine only we have only first condition in this particular law. We did not have second condition. I am talking about that era where we did not have second condition. Will you become resident if you stay 180 days in India? I am talking about old days. No, you cannot become resident. You will not become resident because you stayed only for 180 days in India. Now, what will happen because of this? You will become non-resident. Earlier I am telling. You will become non-resident and only, please tell me the impact, only which income will taxable in India now? You will become non-resident and which income will become taxable in India? If you become non-resident, which income will become taxable in India? Only Indian income will become taxable. Meaning thereby, foreign income will not become taxable in India. Foreign income will not become taxable in India. And that was an intention of this particular rich class of India. There are a lot of people who have done this, who have evaded tax by using simple residential status. They used to plan their stay in India in such a way that majority of the year they will be staying abroad and they will not stay in India. That kind of manipulation they were doing. To control this manipulation, what government said, okay, people who are playing with us like this, okay, to control them, we have brought second condition. And what is the second condition? We said anybody who stays 60 days or more in India, 60 days or more in India, during which year? During previous year, then he should become resident. But we did not stop at 60 days only. We said, see, if some foreigner has come to India for 70 days, he should not suffer because of this, isn't it? Some foreigner, Brian Lara, he came to India to play IPL match. He should not suffer because of this. Are you getting this? Somebody who has come to India for 60 days, 70 days, 75 days, all people should not suffer this particular 60 days condition. Therefore, we added one more condition. Condition number B, we said stay of 365 days. Stay of 365 days or more in India during, please help me, during 365 days or more in India during 4 years immediately preceding previous year, IPPY, immediately preceding 4 years immediately preceding previous year. The 60 days condition is in previous year. This 4 years immediately preceding previous year are the condition applicable for people who try to evade tax by staying in India by less than 180 days. So if you stay in India for 120 days every year, will you become resident? Please tell me, if you stay in India 120 days every year, will you become resident according to these conditions now? Will you become resident? Yes, you will become resident. Now check whether will you become ordinary resident? Will you become ordinary resident? If you stay 120 days, every year you are staying 120 days. So 120 into 7 years. 840 number of days. 840 number of days. And obviously you are resident for many years out of 2 years. Like the condition says minimum 2 years you should be resident. To become ordinary resident, you should stay in India for minimum 2 years out of 10 years. 10 preceding previous year, IPPY, immediately preceding previous year. Obviously here you should be resident and ordinary resident. Now what is the impact if you become resident and ordinary resident? What is the impact? Please tell me. You need to learn the impact. What will you do? You become ordinary. Now what will happen? What should happen? Come on, please tell me. We have discussed this. We have invested more than 1 hour yesterday. Okay. Indian income as well as foreign income will become taxable. So impact is earlier foreign income was not getting taxed. Because of introduction of condition number 2, foreign income started getting tax in India. Are you getting this? See, Indian income was anyhow taxable. Earlier also it was taxable. Now also it is taxable. But due to this particular amendment, which is the old amendment, it's not a new amendment, foreign income which was evaded by these resident individuals is started getting tax in India. But then one of my favorite question is this. Okay, one of my favorite question is this. You please tell me the tax planning. Okay, now let's talk about tax planning. Now you are a May student. Majority of you are, I'm assuming, May student. You will write exam in May. Your result will come in the month of July. Okay. After result, you appeared for few interviews and you got an offer from foreign country. You got an offer from a foreign country in the month of, say for example, August. Because we need exact day, so I will say you are leaving India on 14th August. Okay, you are leaving India on 14th August. You are saying, okay, I'm going to Dubai, I'm going to Singapore, I'm going to Canada. I'm leaving India on 14th August. I want you people to compute your own residential status if you are leaving India on 14th August 2020. Please compute your residential status. Previous year 2021. How many days you stayed in India? April 30, May 31, June 30, July 31. April, May, June, July, August. In August, how many days I should consider? August, how many days I should consider? On 14th August, you have boarded a plane. 14 days, sir. Date of departure will be included. So 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 14. How many days? 136 days you stayed in India. 136 days you stayed in India. Will you become resident according to condition number 1? What is condition number 1? 182 days. Satisfied or not satisfied? Not satisfied. No, sir. Or. But we are having second condition part A. Second condition says 60 days in previous year, sir. 60 days in a previous year. Is it satisfied? 60 days in a previous year. Is it satisfied? Let us solve. I know I am doing wrong. Some of the student, if they are aware of this particular provision, but let us do wrong first. Okay. Sir, yes, it is satisfied because he is staying for 136 days. And part B, 365 days out of 4 IPPY immediately preceding previous year. 365 days out of 4 immediately preceding previous year. Sir, from birth till this day I was there in India only. So you can consider 365 into 4. that is 1460 plus 1. Sir, why plus 1? Because one leap year was there, no? One leap year. So 365, 365, 365 plus 366. So all these days I have considered here 4 years, that is 1461 days, 1461 days, and therefore this is also satisfied. Now if you satisfied both of this condition, come on, please tell me what will you become? If you satisfied this condition, what will you become? A resident. You will become resident. You tell me, will you become ordinary resident also? 730 days out of 7 years. Yes. And resident for 2 years out of 10 years. That is also there, because from birth you are there in India only. Now when you become a resident and ordinary resident, what is the impact? Please tell me impact. Now you are joining a job abroad. Okay. Whatever salary you are receiving in Canada, let's say you have joined job in Canada. Okay. August month onwards till March, whatever salary you have received in this year, will it become taxable in India? This is salary accrued outside India, received outside India, and it will become taxable in India. Is it fair? Is it fair? Now that salary will also become taxable in Canada. That salary will also become taxable in Canada, and then there will be double taxation avoidance agreement. But who wanted to make it complicated? No. You will say, sir, I am earning. Now you tell me, the second condition I told you was brought for that rich class people, sportsmen, then entertainers, these movie actors, singers, business class. They were planning their days to evade tax. Their basic intention of traveling outside India was to evade tax. Are you traveling outside India to evade tax? You tell me. Are you traveling outside India to evade tax? Was it your intention? An answer is no. But when they amended the law for all people, and therefore many people have suffered. Many people have suffered, many people have written the application to government, and you know that they have provided exception to second condition. Now can you please tell me, if the exception becomes applicable, you know that if exception becomes applicable, then what will change in my conditions? What should I change? Everything will remain same, but what should I change here? Please tell me. On your board, what should I change? There are 182 days, 60 days, 365 days. To become OR, we are having 730 days out of 7 years, and plus 2 years of resident, 2 years of resident out of 10 years. What should I change? See, condition number 1 is not hurting you. Condition number 1 is not hurting. 60 days should be replaced by, this 60 days should be replaced by, come on, please tell me, 60 days should be replaced by 182 days. 60 days should be replaced by 182 days. This is what we must have changed. Okay. This is what gets changed. Now you need to know, if I keep 182 days in second condition, technically second condition becomes ineffective, because if you stay in India for 182 days or more, you will become resident according to condition number 1 itself. You don't have to travel to second condition. Are you getting this? If you stay in India for 183 days, you will become resident. You will become resident in condition number 1 only. In exam, you are not going to write condition number 2 then. Why will you write and waste time? We have already concluded that you are resident. Okay. Can you please tell me tax planning? Can you please tell me tax planning? If some person, you tell me, if some person has stayed in India till October, 31st October, can you please compute his number of days stay in India? April 30, April 30, May 31, June 30, July 31, August 31, September 30 and October 31. Okay, 214. And this person is leaving India, and here he is going to earn salary outside India. He is going to earn salary outside India. Now will it become taxable? Please tell me. If somebody left India on 31st October, please tell me, if somebody left India on 31st October, will it become taxable in India? Yes, definitely it will become taxable in India. Definitely. Okay. Why? Because he has stayed for 182 days, sir. and definitely 730 days out of 7 years plus 2 years of resident out of 10 years. So he will become resident plus ordinary resident. Now, as a professional tax planning, I am telling you, whatever salary you earn in this period, no, you ask your employer to give salary as a professional fees. Because you people are chartered accountant, cost accountant, you tell your employer to give you as a professional fees. Because if you receive it as a professional fees, it will be taxable under PGBP. Can you please tell me? There is a presumptive taxation for professionals in PGBP. Can you please tell me, anybody knows section, presumptive taxation section? Yeah, Minu, your answer is definitely right, 44 ADA. 44 ADA, not AD. AD is not applicable to professionals. ADA is applicable to professionals. I'm talking about you, no? So ADA, for you 44 ADA will applicable and only 50% of that should become taxable. Now imagining your salary as 2 lakh rupees here, okay? Your salary, imagine your salary is 2 lakh rupees. 2 lakh rupees into how many months? 31st October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, 5 months, no? So 2 lakh into 5 months is equal to 10 lakh. If 10 lakh becomes taxable under salary head, it will be heavy tax on you, isn't it? If 10 lakh rupees becomes taxable in the salary head, you will get only 50,000 standard deduction, nothing else. If you offer this under income from salary, 10 lakh minus 50,000 standard deduction, that means 9.5 lakh rupees will become taxable. But if you offer this under PGBP head, how much will be taxable? If you offer this in PGBP head, 10 lakh minus 5 lakh, 10 lakh minus 5 lakh, only 5 lakh rupees will become taxable, and that 5 lakh rupees also it won't be taxed. Why? Can you please tell me? If your income is 5 lakh, still it won't be taxed. Why? Yes, 87A rebate you can enjoy. So do you see here what kind of tax planning as a professional you are supposed to discuss with your client? See, I have covered residential status as well as tax planning. And if you feel that I am teaching you something weird, let me show you one institute question. See how our institute asks question, past examination question. Okay? Whatever we have discussed will be applicable here. Why that 5 lakh is exempted? Happy soul, that 5 lakh rupees is not exempted up to 2.5 lakh nil, 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh. 5% tax, so 12,500 you will compute, and that 12,500 will be available as a rebate under section 87A. It's not exempted. Yeah. Out of 10 lakh, 5 lakh rupees is provided under 44 ADA, presumptive income. 50% is the standard presumptive taxation we consider. You don't know provision of section 44 ADA. Wait for PGBP to start. Tomorrow only we are going to handle that. Okay. Please give me answer of this. I'm expecting answer from you. Polimi, an Indian citizen, a chartered accountant, is presently working in a firm in India. Right now she is working in India. She has received an offer for a post of CFO, Chief Financial Officer, from a company at Singapore. As per the offer letter, should join the company at any time between 1st September to 31st October. 1st September to 31st October, this is the period where she should join. You know that if she join on 31st October, we have just computed, if she joins on 31st October, she is going to stay in India for 214 days and she will become resident. She approaches you to advise on following to mitigate her tax liability. Mitigating tax liability means tax planning. Mitigating tax liability means tax planning. So, date by which she should leave India. Please tell me, date by which she should leave India. You please tell me on which date she should leave India. April she is in India, 30 days. May, 31 days. Not before 3rd October. You have to tell me exact date. If she leaves India on 31st October, 214 days we have already computed. So let's take Calci. Take Calci. 30 days, May 31 days, June 30 days. I am adding another 30 days in Calci. July 31 days. So till now 120 days. Okay, June, July, August 31 days. Now September month. Okay, till this particular August, my total number of days are 153. and she should stay in India for less than 182 days. She should stay in India for less than 182 days. Less than 182 days. Please understand the language. Less than 182 days. Less than 182 days means Raja 181 days. So minus 181 days is equal to 28. So 28 is a balancing figure. She should stay in India maximum for 181 days. Because on 29th September, she will become resident. She will achieve that, because date of departure also date of stay in India, no? If she leaves India by 20th September, then she stayed in India for 181 days, as on the date of departure also taken. Yeah, that's what, yeah. Because this date is the final date. I hope you understood, everyone. You got this? Yeah. Next one. Sir, what about 60 days condition? 60 days condition is applicable to her? 60 days condition applicable to her or not applicable? Please tell me. 60 days condition is applicable to her? No sir, because she is leaving India for an employment outside India. She is an exceptional category, sir. She is an exceptional category. Therefore, we are not talking about 60 days here. We have already spoken. In this case, 60 days will be replaced by 182 days, and therefore, we should not talk about 60 days here. Secondly, second tax planning she is asking to you is direct credit of part of her salary to bank account in Kolkata maintained jointly with her mother to meet the requirement of her family. What she is asking you here, see, I am going to work in Singapore. From Singapore, my mother is staying in India. I will tell my employer to give some part of the salary directly in my Indian bank account where mother can withdraw this money. You tell me, if you are a non-resident and still you are receiving money directly in India, that will be taxable, isn't it? If you are receiving money directly in India, it will be taxable. So she should not do this. Our advice to her should be, don't do this. This is the madness. First, you receive this particular money in Singapore itself. Hello. Our tax planning advice will be, that's okay. First, you receive this money in Singapore itself, and from your bank account, you transfer money to your mother account, because foreign remittance are not taxable in India, but foreign salary directly received in India is taxable. I hope you people are matured enough to understand this, and if you want to know the proper presentation of the answer, this is your model question only, past examination question, yeah? CA final past examination question, tax planning question. Let me go ahead. So sir, these exceptions are there to condition number 2. What is the first exception that we have just discussed? Individual who is an Indian citizen who leaves India, sir. Indian citizen who leaves India. But leaves India for what? For an employment outside India. For an employment outside India. For an employment outside India. Okay. For an employment outside India. Now, 60 days shall be replaced by 182 days. Yes, in MCQ 28, 29, 30, all these dates will be there. You have to be very precise about your answer. And even if it was not MCQ, if it was a computational question also, still 29 is a wrong answer, 28 is the only right answer. You cannot say, sir, I missed by only one day, please consider my answer. No, they don't consider, they will give you directly 0. As a member of crew of Indian ship, we will talk about this person later on. Now let's talk about this person. Indian citizen who is a person of Indian origin. Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin. Now, how do you call particular person as an Indian citizen? Now, if I am holding a passport of government of India, because I was born in India, I am an Indian citizen. You understand? I am holding passport is a document through which you come to know about citizenship of a person. So, right now, if I am born in India, I am holding a passport of a government of India. So, obviously, I am Indian citizen. Some of these students we have in our batch, some of them are from UAE, some of them are from Singapore. They might be holding a citizenship of the respective country. They might be having passport of that country. So they are citizen of that country. For them, this law is not applicable. But please understand, if your grandfather was born in Karachi, okay, if your grandfather was born in Karachi in 1945, why I am saying 1945? Because 1945 is a time when Karachi was part of Hindustan. Hindustan means undivided India. Are you getting this? In 1945, Karachi was not in Pakistan because in 1945, Pakistan was not in existence, it did not exist. Now, you tell me whether can your grandfather say, I was a person of Indian origin? Can he say that? Now your grandfather is in Canada. Now your grandfather is not there in India. He was born in 1945, Karachi. Then he left India. He got employment in Canada. He's living there. He got married there. He produced your father. Your father produces you. Okay. You people are there in Canada, but can he say, I am a person of Indian origin? And answer is yes. Can your father say he is also a person of Indian origin? Grandfather was born in Karachi. Can your father say that he is a person of Indian origin? Answer is yes, because his father, means your grandfather was a person of Indian origin. So father will also become person of Indian origin. And for your knowledge, even you will become person of Indian origin. Why? Sir, look at the definition of person of Indian origin. Look at the definition of person of Indian origin. A person is said to be Indian origin if he or either of his parents or either of his grandparents were born in undivided India. A person is said to be Indian origin, PIO, definition of PIO, when you or your parents or your grandparents were born in undivided India. Okay, let's not talk about undivided India. We have already spoken about this. You tell me in 1955, now the current India, your grandfather was born in Kochi. And then he started staying in Dubai, UAE. Again, same story. Okay, grandfather is there in UAE. Your father was born in UAE, and you as a assessee, you are also born in UAE. Can your grandfather say that he is the person of Indian origin? Look at the definition and please tell me. Can your grandfather say that he is the person of Indian origin? Please tell me. All of these three. Okay, you answer for all these three. Grandfather, father and assessee. All these three persons, can they call themselves as a person of Indian origin? Yes. Answer is yes. Then you will say, sir, but the definition says undivided India. So the current India is also undivided India only, right? This current India is still India, isn't it? Kochi is still in India. Kochi forms part of India. Right now, 1955, I'm not talking about Karachi. I'm talking about Kochi now. If I change the fact, if I make Karachi or if I make some place in, some other place in Pakistan or Bangladesh, then yes, now it will not be applicable. But if I take Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, this is still India, no? So this person proudly can say he is a person of Indian origin. Your father can also proudly say they are person of Indian origin. And you can also say, your grandson also can say you are a person of Indian origin. And you tell me, if you are coming back to India to see India, because your grandfather is telling you a lot of good stories about India. In Kerala, this is there, we have Himalaya, we are having this and that. There are a lot of temples, lot of people, we have our relatives, my friend circle is there. He's telling you many stories of India and you are getting excited to see India. You tell me whether 60 days are enough for you to come and visit India and live. Whether 60 days are enough. If you are having your relatives, families, cousins in India, don't you think you should have little more number of days to spend with them? Not enough. And therefore, we have amended the law. And what is the law? You tell me. If you are an Indian citizen, or you are a person of Indian origin, if you are coming to India for a visit, not to settle down in India, not to do job in India, not to do business in India, you are just coming India to visit. Please ignore this particular data and you please tell me this much law you already know. 60 days shall be replaced by 182 days. 60 days shall be replaced by 182 days. 60 days shall be replaced by 182 days. This was the existing law. At least you tell me that your existing law is clear. This was the existing law. Indian citizen leaves India for an employment. Indian citizen leaves India as a member of crew of Indian ship. Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who is staying in a foreign country now coming to India for a visit, in these three conditions, this law was there already. No change has happened to this. 60 days shall be replaced by 180 days, meaning thereby second condition is not applicable, only first condition is applicable. I want you people to understand and acknowledge, and please acknowledge that your this much law is clear. This 60 days law was clear. Yeah. Now what Nirmala Sitharaman had observed is always about rich class, HNI, we call them HNI, high net worth individuals. In India we are having many HNIs, but these people are parking their wealth abroad. They park their wealth outside India. Okay, yeah, HICA, we can also call them HICA, high income class assesses. They always park their wealth outside India. They are not parking their wealth in India. And if it is black money, definitely it is outside India. I am telling, even if it is a white money, they are not parking their wealth in India, they are parking their wealth outside India. See, if you are having, last story, we discussed it, if you are having 100 crore rupees, don't you think buying foreign property is also not that difficult for you? You can easily buy a foreign property, maybe in Singapore, maybe in Dubai, or maybe even in Canada or USA for that matter. You are having 100 crore. You just want one BHK, 2 BHK flat in a foreign country. Is it possible? When you will be having 100 crore with you, you will easily buy one foreign property, right? Now what will you try? Come on, please tell me, what will you try? Will you try to become a resident or you will try to become non-resident? What will you try? You will try to become resident or non-resident? Obviously, you will try to become non-resident. Why, sir? Because see, whatever income or whatever investment you are having in India, irrespective of your residential status, that is taxable. But whatever wealth you have parked outside India, investment you have created outside India, bank accounts you have created outside India, you don't want to pay tax on your foreign income. That's your agenda. That is your intention. Am I clear about this? And how to achieve this? Sir, instead of staying in India, you will stay in some kind of tax havens. Hello, you will stay in some kind of tax havens. When you are going to buy property, you will buy property in tax haven countries. You are not going to buy another property in some country which is taking tax more than Indian government. You will definitely buy property in Mauritius or Cayman Island or some country where the tax rates are lower than Indian tax rate. Low tax or no tax. And you will stay there more and less in India. But because your family is there in India, you are having some business transactions in India, you will keep traveling to India. But you will make sure you don't stay in India for 182 days. Do you understand? You will stay in India for 150 days, 160 days, 170 days in extreme case. But you will make sure you will not stay in India for more than 182 days, because if you stay in India for 182 days, you may become resident, and if you become resident, there is a possibility that you may become ordinary resident, and if you become ordinary resident, your global income, meaning this foreign income, will become taxable. When we say, see, nobody is having problem to pay tax on Indian income. You need to tell your heart and brain that Indian income is always taxable. Nobody want to evade tax on Indian income. People are targeting to evade tax on foreign income because they earn foreign income in huge amount. Indian income comparatively maybe 5% or 10% of their total income. Foreign income maybe in 80%, 90%. This type of people were doing this planning. So Nirmala Sitharaman says this is enough. Now these Indian citizens who are doing this, okay, they should be called resident in India if they stay in India only for 120 days out of in previous year. So earlier we had only two conditions. No, we had 60 days condition and we had 182 days condition. 60 days condition is for all people, 182 days condition for 3 people. Which are those 3 people? Indian citizen who lives in India for an employment, Indian citizen who lives in India for as a member of crew of Indian ship, and like foreign citizen means Indian citizen but who is staying as of now in foreign country. So foreign resident, but he is the Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who comes to India for a visit. For these 3 people we had 182 days criteria. Now we made it 120 days criteria for this category, last category, visit category. The criteria is 120 days. You tell me, in my original story, you were a grandchild of your grandfather who was born in India. Grandfather, then father, and you are a grandchild. Whether this 120 days amendment is applicable to you. With this existing law, is it applicable to you? Your grandfather is there in Dubai, father is also there in Dubai, you were born in Dubai, now you are visiting India. Is it applicable? Answer is yes, you are traveling to India to visit, no. But are you happy with this 120 days amendment? Are you happy with this 120 days amendment? Your number of days are reduced in India. Are you happy with this? From Canada or from USA, you are traveling a half world, and if we tell you that you cannot stay here for more, so we said no, it's not brought for this genuine people like you. This is brought for those business class or those business people who are evading tax. This is brought for tax evaders, it's not brought for you. And therefore they said you need to have Indian income. You need to have Indian income. I'm saying Indian income, actually they have not said Indian income. They have said total income minus foreign income. Now total income minus foreign income means technically it is Indian income. You should have Indian income more than 15 lakh. Then only this 120 days criteria is applicable. Are you getting this? That means this is applicable only for those people who are earning Indian income. It is applicable only for those PIOs who are earning Indian income. Now you tell me, if you are a genuine person, obviously you might not have Indian income. If you are a grandchild of your grandfather and you are traveling to India with a genuine intention, this amendment has nothing to do with you. This amendment will not be applicable to you because you don't have Indian income more than 15 lakh. So what is the amendment which has taken place here? So please see this. Total income minus foreign income, meaning Indian income. It should be more than 15 lakh. If it is more than 15 lakh, then this 60 days condition will be replaced by 120 days. 60 days condition will be replaced by 120 days. I believe at least you should have understood 50% of it. Now sir, if it comes in exam, how should we handle it? If it comes in exam, how should we handle it? Now for that I have created format. Okay. You tell me now, if Indian citizen leaves India, this is my situation 2, which is an exceptional situation. Indian citizen leaves India for an employment outside India. This is my one situation. You tell me, if I ask you to recall the table that I taught you first, I started with this table. You will write this first condition, basic 182 days. What has changed? Can you see here? 60 days is replaced by 182 days. 60 days is replaced by 182 days. This is the format you will follow, simple format, and it was there already. You will just check whether it is 182 days or not, and condition for ordinary resident remains same, no changes for those ordinary residents. Now, if you leave India as a member of crew, we will talk about him little later. Let's talk about this Indian citizen first of all, which is the amendment taken place. Many people are interested to know this amendment, no? So, Indian citizen or a PIO who comes to India, please understand, he comes to India for a visit, but your total income minus foreign income, meaning Indian income, is less than equal to 15 lakh. You tell me, for you anything change or no? The law is still same, right? For this kind of people, the law has not changed. People who doesn't have income more than, Kumaran, I am covering that only. I am covering amendments only. 60 days by 182 days. So this was existing law, no? There is no amendment here. Till situation 4, there is no amendment. Are you getting this? Only thing is that you need to make sure, okay, if this person is not having, this situation also, is it applicable for, my question, is it applicable for foreign citizens? Is it applicable to Brian Lara? Is it applicable to Chris Gale? Is it applicable to Ricky Ponting? This 182's benefit is applicable to them? No sir, no, this is not applicable to foreigners. No sir, this is not applicable to foreigners. Then for foreigners, what is applicable? If this is not applicable, see, 182 days is the concession given only to Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin. This concession is given only for, we want our Indian to come back to India and see the beautiful, incredible India. Okay, foreigners anyhow, if they come, let them come. Let them stay in India. For them, this condition will not change. For them, the condition, original condition will apply. So, what is original condition? This is the condition, original condition, no general condition. 182 days or more in the previous year or 60 days or more in the previous year. This is the original condition. This is applicable to foreign citizens. I hope it is very much clear in your mind, right? What comes in exam and how you have to think. Till now, I have not taught you any amendment. I have just taught you what was there in law already. Just wanted to make sure you understand the existing law so that I can teach amendment peacefully. Now let's come to amendment part. Amendment is applicable only and only if your income is more than, your Indian income is more than 15 lakh. First of all, is it clear? You are a citizen of India or you are a person of Indian origin. You are an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin, then only you have to think about amendment. This amendment is not applicable to any of the foreign citizens. And you are having Indian income more than 15 lakh, then only you have to think about it. So then what has changed? Can you please tell me what has changed? 182 days, still 182 days. It has not changed. This 365, still 365. What has changed? Please tell me. 120. Instead of 60 days here, we are putting 120 days, sir. Or instead of 182 days, we are putting 120 days. So this 120 is the new number which is introduced by Finance Act 2020.
Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.